I'm so sorry. That was an alarm. Probably that's going to happen 20 more times because I'm recording a video, which is probably not the best thing to do on my phone instead of doing it on my computer. And so one of the things that I'm trying to do now is look to figure out where it is that I want to be. Like where is it that I want to be? And where is my soul guiding me? And I'm open to whatever that is, but I'll just tell you what's kind of come across. So these are the places I've been visiting on YouTube, right? So Mexico, Merida, Mexico. Been looking at that, which seems like a really neat settled town, especially for someone my age, mid 50s. And it's relatively close, so it's not, a 2 hour flight. It's not like, you're flying 20 hours or whatever to get to Ghana, or 8 hours to get to Hawaii, or those kinds of things. So I'm looking at that. Jamaica's always gonna be that like that side piece. I think I'm probably gonna, like I'm always gonna go to Jamaica. Like that's just I love Jamaica, but is that the place that I would make home? Maybe not so much. And more than anything, I think it's because of the tourism. One of the things that I probably liked least about Hawaii is the tourism and that. I'm just going to leave it there. I just, and I know that happens in Ghana and in other places as well. Um, yeah, I'm going to leave. I don't even want to go there. That's too serious for this conversation tonight. But so anyway, Ghana is calling me. And so if any of you who are watching this have gone or thinking about going, please reach out. Let me know in the comments your experience. I've been watching some really, really great YouTubers talk about it. They're expats that have gone over there and love it. And oh, that's what I was going to say before the phone so rudely interrupted me was in 2019, I guess, there was the year of the return. Ghana had this year of return, which was this marketing thing to invite a marketing invitation for the diasporans, which are Africans or who are in other places as a result of colonization and slave trade and all of that stuff. So you have Black Brits, you have African Americans, you have Jamaicans, and so forth, just everywhere, wherever we are, spread throughout. And Ghana reached out and said, hey, come back home. Bring those gifts. You've gone out. You've got the education. You've got the talent. You've got the tools. We now live in a global world. I have teams that work for me that are in India. I've had teams in the Philippines. I've had, I think those are the only two, had Costa Rica at one point. So the world is broad, right? And the cost of labor is different in those different places. The cost lifestyles are different in those places. Cost of, homes, living, land, all of that. And there was something, and I've been watching, I can't think of her name, but I may tag her down in here because I do share. So oftentimes what I do is things that I'm watching, if you notice on this channel, it's called Flowers Journey, because I'm just kind of sharing what I'm going through. So I may post something about a slave mindset, slave mentality, healing from trauma, because that happens to be what I'm watching. And if I find that it's valuable, not just for me, but for my family. So when I share stuff, it's stuff that I would want my son to see, my nieces and my nephews and those people to see. It's great for everybody else who's watching, but I'm literally putting it out there for the generations that will follow me. And it's information that I'm getting to at 54 that I don't want them to get to at 54. I want them to get to at 34. I want them to find the love and all of that for themselves, for their people, for people that look like them, and understand where we come from in that power. I want them to understand that now, right? And it doesn't mean that you love anybody else any less, right? But Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and that's all people of color, brown, Black, yellow, you know, all of that. We all have similar but different stories, right? And I think that those stories and that history and understanding that is where our strength that actually comes from. Otherwise, we find ourselves in in England, Great Britain, or in the UK, in wherever we are, in America, in Mexico, wherever we are, fighting to achieve something and to prove something to someone that we're a part of this system. We can make it in this system, when in all actuality the system was never built for us to make it in. It is our sheer determination, our genetic abilities that we have. And I'm not going to go into where I was going to say, but some of them came from inbreeding and crossbreeding and all of that happened during slavery. And then some of them were just God given, excellence in how we are put together. However, there are things that are still, because of not really understanding our history. We really don't understand because we think our culture is eating a certain way and a certain type of food and a certain type of thing. And really, a lot of those things were what we ate because that was all that was available and provided for us. Right. And often it was foods that were tainted or in other ways sabotaging our health. And a lot of that was intentional, right? And not by us because we didn't have the power to make those decisions at that time. But things have changed and now we do have the power to make different decisions. And so with that, and I keep trying not to go off on this little tangent. But with that, one of the decisions or some of the decisions we get to make now is where we want to live, where we want to take our gifts. We have the gifts. We have the education and it can never be taken from us. What do we want to do with that? What do we want to contribute? Not just to America, not just to all people, all races, all nationalities, but what do we want to give back to ourselves and our legacy, our generational legacy? There's something to that. And that's my calling, and that's not everybody's, and I don't hold anybody else responsible for what my calling is. But my calling is that I need to experience the continent, and that is the continent of Africa, and not just to visit, but to live for a time. And I don't know if that means forever. I don't know. It may be a year, maybe 18 months like Hawaii. I don't know, but I know I'm being called. So I'm doing things that I need to do now so that I can be prepared to make that trip, which means being in good health and making sure everything's all aligned. And like I said, I can work from anywhere. So that's not the issue. But it is the preparation for the mindset for the differences. One of the things that you would never have thought in Hawaii, you go over there and it's so beautiful, and it's beautiful, especially when you live on the ocean. I mean, it's beautiful, and you can walk to the beach 3 minutes, walk or whatever, beautiful. But you don't think about all the dang geckos. You're in the bed and you look up and there's a gecko on the ceiling. There's a gecko on the wall, or whatever. I mean, it happens, right? Because you're right by the ocean, things like that, which there are wonderful benefits because they eat the little insects and the mosquitoes, so you don't have a ton of mosquitoes because the geckos are eating them all. But you got geckos every fucking where. So, there's always the wins and there's always the loses. And I'll take it because all of that's part of nature. I'll take it. As a matter of fact, I live in, beautiful place by the water right now. I try to stay by the water. If in Ghana, I plan to be by the water. Bali and Belize are two other ones. So I'm looking, but I really don't want to be in a tourist destination, per se. Now, if it's a once, like I think in Ghana, there's this big thing that happens in December or whatever, that I keep hearing about. So, from a tourist standpoint, if it's kind of that, but it's not the kind of touristy like Hawaii. It's a different kind of touristy, I think. So I'm looking forward to that. My plan was to go November 11th. However, I have some medical stuff I've got to take care of. And so it looks like it might be after the first of the year that I'll get to go for the first month and experience it. And that's what I do. So if anybody else is watching this and you're thinking about it or would like to go or have a conversation, share in the comments. Let's connect and whatever, because I mean, I'm up for traveling. I'm going to do it. I do it by myself. I'm comfortable. And that's just because I don't like to have to I think it gets complicated when you start trying to travel with people per se. I'm really more of a by myself. However, if you're going at the same time and we're both over there, I'm really down for meeting up, having a drink, connecting with some other expats and people, from the diaspora who are over there, which I plan to do anyway. Some of the YouTubers and those people. So maybe, connect with me here and we can continue that conversation there as well. And even some of the other places. So anyway, it's Friday night. It's a great night. And I came in here to actually go to bed. My sister was uh, in the front room watching the Texas Rangers game. And I'm not personally a big sports fan. So I thought, well, I'm just going to go and get in the bed and maybe turn on something on YouTube or whatever, which is usually my DIY house and farm. I love that. That is it's a couple. It's a lady who moved from, I think she moved, don't give me a line, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. She moved from somewhere in the States, to Ghana, and then she met her husband over there. And they started this YouTube channel. It's just amazing. And they started a farm, and literally they got a plot of land and they just started planting stuff and they built their home. And there's a lot of people who are over there doing that. It's great. And I love watching. And so I have, just a ton of people that I follow over there. So I came in here to do that. But what happened when I did that, I turned on the TV, and of course YouTube, follows your viewing preferences and your subscriptions. So the first thing popped up was MJ Harris, which, if you know MJ, he's like the celebrity YouTube talker, influencer guy. And he just has neat things. And I've never really watched him on YouTube. I usually watch him on TikTok, if I'm on TikTok. And but he popped up, and so I turned it on, and he was saying, why I had to leave America to save money or something like that. And I thought, oh my God, he's gone too. And this was from 3 weeks ago. So I watched it. I am not finished watching it, but I started watching it. And basically he was saying everything that's in my mind. Is like, I don't want to work the rest of my life. And even with owning a business, as a business owner, even the last, few years with me being in Hawaii and having a team managed business, that's wonderful. But that's still stressful because guess what? You're still always trying to keep this business going and da 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 da, because not only your payroll is at stake, but everybody else is depending on you because they live in America too, and the prices are rising and all those things. And so there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I just think at some level, maybe you can't tell by my bed and all this other, my home or whatever. But as a matter of fact, I have a friend, she's like super honest. And I was like, I think at my core,